What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian. Today we're going to start off by covering the Michigan versus Purdue game and what I'm hoping to happen, what I expect should happen. And then we'll move on to predictions for the rest of the week, which actually starts tonight, I believe, with Memphis and Rice. So right off the start, we'll go with Happy Halloween to everybody. Hope you all have a great, safe time out there, getting your candy, your sweeties, whatever. I couldn't dress up as a clown because there was no Ohio State costumes available. So, yeah. Um, so right off the start, Michigan is I looked up the odds just kind of see what was going on. Michigan is supposed to win by between 21 and 22 points. So that's the spread is supposed to be around that. Uh, they're thinking Michigan is going to run over Purdue. And quite frankly, I do agree with this assessment. Michigan is by far the better team in all respects. Purdue lost to Rutgers last week. And Rutgers lost to Washington a week before by something like, or the week before that, one or two by, it was like 24-7, 31-7. So, and Rutgers is bad. And losing to Rutgers demonstrates that you are probably not going to be winning many games this year. So Purdue is easily beatable by all stretches of the imagination. The last time Michigan played Purdue was in the Big Ten Championship, I believe, like 2 years ago or something like that. They won then, and I fully expect them to win now. The keys to this, however, are letting Bryce Underwood throw the ball more. We know Michigan's run game is going to be dominant. We already know this. This is no matter who they played, Michigan has run for over 100 yards almost every game. I think I'm not sure. I can't remember the USC numbers, but I believe that was one game where I'm not sure if Jordan Marshall did that game because I know Justice Haynes was out. But outside of that game, Michigan has run for 100 yards, has at least had one, if not two, 100-yard rushers every single game. So if they maintain that, then we know Michigan is going to win. But if Michigan can give Bryce Underwood the ability to push the ball downfield more, then we know that the win will probably be even more dominant score-wise, at least. So this will be a chance for Michigan to try out those things that maybe they weren't able to do against tougher competition and give Bryce Underwood a chance to actually not just throw the ball, but pass the ball. I'm not saying take Purdue lightly because I do not encourage that against any opponent, especially in the Big Ten. But this will give Michigan a chance to open the playbook pass-wise, give Bryce Underwood a chance to learn how to put some touch on the ball. This is great. This is a great opportunity against, try not to be too crazy, but inferior competition. Purdue is not Ohio State. Purdue is not even Iowa. They're not even Wisconsin, realistically, and Michigan showed out against them. Give Bryce Underwood a chance to throw the ball. Get him those touches where he's able to learn how to put some touch on the ball. Have him throw some passes, maybe to see how far his deep accuracy is. Give him a chance to do that, and mix it. And let the play balance be a little bit deeper than 5 passes to 25 runs, things like that. Justice Haynes will run the ball all over Purdue if he's given a chance. We know he can do this. Of course, give him those touches. Give him Jordan Marshall's touches. But let Bryce Underwood be let him live up to the potential we know he has. So do I think Michigan's going to win? Absolutely, Michigan is going to absolutely destroy Purdue. However, the manner in which it is done is going to be really important and will really do a lot for Bryce Underwood's confidence and the team as a whole if he's able to open up that playbook, give him the confidence to be the potential star he has, show the potential against an inferior opponent so that we know when it comes time, we know he has a potential. That's when the coaches and the other, all that other stuff comes into play. So Michigan will win. I think it's going to be it could exceed 40 points quite easily. And I think, just like what happened against Michigan State, Michigan allows like maybe a couple garbage time touchdowns, maybe 10 points, maybe 2 tops. I think Michigan's going to absolutely blow them out of the water, boat race them out of the stadium. So and Michigan's at home. So Purdue is not going to have, tons of fans there. So I think Michigan absolutely boat races them, probably 42-30, 42-7 more than likely, 42-3 even at you know at best. I think Purdue at least get at if nothing else gets a field goal, but and credit to Purdue, they are a Big Ten team playing in a tough conference, so but they're just not good this year. They just don't have any really outstanding players. They don't have it. The George Karlaftis and or Drew Brees of this world are not playing for them. So at this time, so yeah, I think it's a big blow win for Michigan. So all right, so now we've kind of covered that. This is not the most in depth, obviously, because this is not Michigan's biggest opponent this year. So moving on to the week 10, there was some games obviously played earlier this week that were technically kind of in between, but obviously these games are tonight, so Halloween night. Memphis Rice, I think Memphis wins this one. I think they're resurgent back from their surprise loss a couple weeks ago, so I think they're going to pull this out. Syracuse, I have Syracuse beating North Carolina. North Carolina is absolutely in misery. I think that just continues. Belichick is, I don't know if you know if he's going to be there next year, honestly. I think one and done. So, I think Louisiana Tech, Sam Houston. I think Louisiana Tech wins this one pretty comfortably. Sam Houston is just, I think they haven't really. They're recently into this level of football, D1. I think so. I think that Louisiana Tech pulls that out. Penn State, Ohio State. That's going to be interesting. Now, obviously, this would have been different at the beginning of the year than where they're at now. But I really think Ohio State cannot underestimate Penn State. As bad as Penn State is, and they're not good this year, and I think they're scrappy enough to put up a fight at least for the first quarter to two, and then I think that's when things start to even out. So I think Ohio State wins that, but it's not going to be probably at least in the first quarter or two. It's not going to be the steamrolling that people may have thought it would be. Indiana, Maryland. I think Indiana wins that one. It would be an enormous upset otherwise. Florida, Georgia. Florida just. I think Billy Napier's gone, if I remember correctly. So I think Georgia just wins that. Still be a fight. It is rivalry, so there's going to be some bad blood there, but I still think Georgia wins that. They just have pretty much everything going in their favor. Ole Miss, South Carolina. I think Ole Miss wins that. They're just more talented in every aspect. And South Carolina, while they did have a good showing against Alabama, I think that was kind of the peak of their season right there. So I think Ole Miss wins that one, maybe comfortably even. Georgia Tech, NC State. I'm all in on Georgia Tech this year. I think they're great. I think Haynes King is fantastic. I think Georgia Tech beats them. Probably one of those 27-10 kind of games. Vandy, Texas. I think Vandy pulls this out. I don't think Texas has been consistent enough to beat a team like Vandy. Vandy has shown themselves to be. They understand. They have the champion mentality and material. And Diego Pavia is just he's leading that team, and Texas is just floundering. They're inconsistent. So I think Vandy has shown themselves. And 2 years ago, if you had told me this, I would have called you a liar. Nope. But this team is the truth. Vanderbilt is the truth. And yes, they lost to Bama, but that was not a blowout, and they showed toughness in that loss, and they've shown toughness in all their wins so far. I think Vandy pulls it out and beats Texas. Miami, Florida versus SMU. I think Miami pulls it out. SMU, they beat Clemson, but Clemson is just floundering right now. So I think Miami wins that one comfortably. Notre Dame, Boston College, a semi-rivalry kind of game. Not really, but some. I think Notre Dame pulls it out. I think they win that comfortably. Texas Tech, Kansas State. I think Texas Tech they won again last weekend after that loss the weekend prior. I think they win this one. Kansas State just isn't on that level. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Oklahoma, Tennessee, that could be a dog fight, like a real dog fight. If I had to be a betting man, I would say Tennessee wins this. They have a lot of motivation going into this game, but that's not to say Oklahoma can't. I think it could be close. It's either going to be a really close game or somebody's going to get their socks blown off. One of the two. It's not going to be. I think there's going to be some skill disparity shown here. But I think I would say Tennessee probably wins this one. I don't know where they're playing at, but I would say that's going to be a big factor into whoever wins this. So Tennessee, I would say my money's on Tennessee, but never count out Oklahoma. And obviously, I want Oklahoma to win for the Michigan factored in there, but if they're playing at Tennessee, I say Tennessee wins more than likely. Virginia, California. Virginia has to be careful. Uh, I think they win this game, but I would caution them against being complacent. So I think Virginia wins, but California's going to put up a fight. Louisville, Virginia Tech, exact same thing. Louisville cannot get complacent when facing Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech beat Cal last weekend, if I remember correctly, but they don't get complacent. Louisville has to be on top of their game. Cincinnati, Utah. Utah beat the brakes off of Colorado. So are they good, or did they just face a team that was unmotivated? We'll find out. I think Cincinnati wins, but it's going to be a good game. Purdue, Michigan, already covered that. Michigan by at least 3 touchdowns, if not more than that. West Virginia, Houston. I think Houston wins that. West Virginia's just not doing so hot this year. USC versus Nebraska. I think USC wins that. I think they're more physical than Nebraska is. Nebraska's still a good team. It's not taken away from them, but I think USC is better. UAB, UConn. I think UAB. They upset Memphis a couple weeks ago, so we'll go with them. Buffalo, Bowling Green. Neither of these teams are good. We'll just go with Buffalo on that because I don't know. Cleo Mack. Navy, North Texas. North Texas, this quarterback just went just out of his mind through last weekend. I think it was threw for like 600. It was last week, the week before. Threw for like 603 yards. Just insane. So I think they pulled out against Navy. Uh, as much as I'd love the Service Academy to wins, I still think North Texas is better. Speaking of service academies, Air Force, Army, I'm gonna say, yeah, Army. You know, my boys over, in the service. We'll go with them. I think they pull it out against Air Force. I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game by a stretch, though. Oh, Rutgers, Illinois. Let's go Illinois. I know they fell out of the rankings a bit. Some pretty bad losses, but they lost to Washington. But I still think they're quality enough to beat Rutgers by all stretch of the imagination. Duke and Clemson. Oh man, Clemson has fallen from grace. Dabo Sweeney, man, he's got to be feeling that pain. I don't think they're going to fire him this year, but if they have another year like this, yeah, I think he's gone. Even with all the success he's had in the past. Uh, Duke, it's hard to say. Nobody knows who they are. So let's just go. I think Clemson pulls it out, but that's not exactly the battle of the bands here. UCF and Baylor. I'm going to go with Baylor on that one just because. Arizona State, Iowa State. The battle of the what could have beens. Real. I mean, these two teams should have been better than they are. They really should have. So I'm going to go with Arizona State, but that's a toss-up because those two teams had so much potential that is just not being realized. East Carolina, Temple. Let's go with Temple on that one. New Mexico, UNLV. I think New Mexico beats them. UNLV has just fallen, has a slow decline this year for whatever reason. Boise State, Fresno State. Boise State's a better team, just outright. They're just better. Even though they're not ranked, they're still the better team. Pittsburgh, Stanford. Pitt pulls that out. Stanford's in just a swamp right now. They're just not they're getting tossed around. Delaware and Liberty. Make-A-Wish, Michigan versus Liberty. So let's go. Hey, let's go with them. Delaware. I think Delaware pulls it out. Old Dominion, ULM. Old Dominion won last weekend, so they know how to win. The problem is they find themselves against just outright better teams normally. Let's go with Old Dominion on this one. The Raging Cajuns versus South Alabama. Neither team are too hot, so let's go with South Alabama. I believe they're probably the underdogs in that scenario. Michigan State, Minnesota. Oh man, that's yeah. I'll go with Minnesota. I think they're just better as a team, but Michigan State's looking awful, and Minnesota's not great either this year, unfortunately. See, I want Big Ten teams to be good, so when Michigan beats them, it looks better. I feel like that's kind of common sense, but when a team is bad, a team is bad. That's just kind of how it is. Can't, but you can only play the people in front of you. So I think Minnesota beats Michigan State. Western Kentucky, New Mexico State. I think Western Kentucky is probably the better team in that scenario. Arkansas, Mississippi State. Mississippi State is scrappy, and so is Arkansas. That's gonna be a brawl. I think Arkansas pulls it out, but Mississippi State will keep it close. Central Michigan, Western Michigan. Western Michigan is probably the better team, but who knows? They're MAC teams. They put up tons of points for no reason whatsoever sometimes. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma State and Kansas. I think Kansas is the better team here. Oklahoma State is just struggling in every way you could possibly struggle. Wyoming, San Diego State. Wyoming, scrappy team. San Diego State is really hit or miss. I think Wyoming wins that. Arizona, Colorado. I think Arizona wins that. Uh, Colorado needs the win. Arizona probably understands that. Probably really wants to kind of keep that decline going. So my money's on Arizona. That and I have family there. So Washington State, Oregon State. I think Washington State wins this. They've been playing. They got a win last weekend, I know. So and they've played some better teams, pushed them. I think they beat Oregon State. Kentucky and Auburn. Uh, you know what? We'll go with Kentucky. That one's for Bordeaux. I know he's a Kentucky guy, so we'll go with Kentucky in this one. Don't care otherwise. Wake Forest, Florida State. We'll go with Florida State. I think they pull out a win against Wake Forest. I know Wake Forest won a last-second field goal last weekend, so I think Wake Forest gets a loss on this one. I think Florida State pulls it out. Arkansas State and Troy. Let's go with Arkansas State. I think I said last week I like their logo. I still do. So Hawaii and San Jose State. I know Hawaii's had some tradition of a lot of good passers, but they don't generally play against the best of teams. But San Jose State probably has very similar things. So let's go with Hawaii on that one. I mean, who doesn't love Hawaii? So yep, that is all for this weekend's game. All right, so we will find out if my ability to curse ranked teams is continuing or if that was just a couple week thing trend going on. But anyways, and once again, Michigan should have no problem with Purdue this weekend. So I'm hoping that's true. Fingers crossed, all the other good stuff. And thanks for watching the video. If you like what is going on here, like and subscribe. Leave comments, critiques. I welcome it all. Have a great Halloween. Thanks for watching. Peace.